Hello everyone. In this video we're going to look at some minor details about your Unit 2 Excel assignment. We're going to make sure that you guys feel comfortable with utilizing Excel, and I feel like if you don't feel comfortable with utilizing Excel and how it should be dealt with, we're going to have a lot of difficulties with handling some of the other project assignments we're going to have in the future. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to talk about cell references. So this location right here is referencing B3. That is the cell reference B3. So if anywhere at any time I want to go ahead and utilize that cell reference, for instance down here, I can type in equals capital B3. Now I don't actually have to use capitals. I can just type in B3, hit enter, and it will copy the exact same information from this cell into this cell. Notice the difference, however, is in this cell right here is a value of 3 in the formula bar. However, this one down here is it equals to B3. Now keep in mind that, again, I can drag this information across and I can do a lot of other things with the cell referencing and the information that's in here. I'm going to go ahead and undo that right there. I'm going to undo that one as well, because neither of those things have to be done for this. But keep in mind that we're referencing cell B3. You could reference C3. Again, notice the column versus the row. I'm going to go ahead and read these salmon-colored boxes. This is where the information that we're going to be starting with and working with are given. So this is assume the ratio of euros to dollars to yen is 345. Sorry, 34500. So for every 3 euros, we have $4 and 500 yen. I'm going to double check that those values are accurate. Yes, 3 euros to $4 to 500 yen. You'll also notice that there's the symbol for euro, there's the symbol for dollar, there's the symbol for yen. Those are all accurately listed in the information. With that done and identified, we're going to go ahead and read this box right here. This is given an input of any amount in one currency. Enter formulas using these inputs that output the proportional amount of the other two. You must enter formulas in the output cell using the values in the cells given the ratios of currencies in cell B3 through D3, format as appropriate currency. So, with that information, I feel like, again, if you're having difficulty reading that, it's helpful to pause and reread. In this case, it says enter formulas. So I need to enter formulas into the output locations. That's what it says. It says using these inputs. So I need to use these values, this input, and I need to output those values here. Let's go ahead and work through that really closely and carefully. So I'm going to go ahead and have a formula in the location for euros. I'm going to type in there equals. I want to convert this dollar amount into euros. I also want to convert this dollar amount into yen, and I want to use these references up here to do so. When converting values of money, there's a way that we can go ahead and use a ratio setup in doing so. You can go ahead and use that ratio setup on a piece of paper outside of Excel to better understand how to formulate the equation that you have to type into this formula bar to make this thing work. Now keep in mind, notice how I clicked in here and I'm typing in here. I'm not typing in the formula bar because you don't have to. It's going to automatically populate it into that formula bar. So I need this to be equal to something times something divided by another thing to make this thing work. I'm going to hit the escape button down real quick. I'm going to go ahead and type in here. For every $200, I know that if I multiply by a new unit and divide it by the previous unit. So this is $200. I'm going to divide it by $200, or sorry, divide it by $4, and then multiply it by 3 euros. This will allow the multiplication of these three things such that this is a fraction right here. This will allow us to get the value for what euros should be in terms of $200 being converted to euros. So that's the concept that I want to have. Again, you can go ahead and do the ratio work outside of Excel to better understand the math. But this is equal to, I want to do $200. Notice how when I click that cell references, it types in here for me B6. Again, all I'm doing is I'm just clicking that location. I want to then multiply that by something. Again, I want to multiply it by the 3 euros. Again, this is going to be a $200, this is going to be a $4, and the dollar symbols are going to cancel out. And then multiplied by the 3 euro, the euros are going to be what's left. So I want to multiply this something. I want to go ahead and hit Shift 8. That's my multiplication symbol in Excel, that nice little asterisk symbol. I'm going to go ahead and click on euros, the B3 location. That way it's $200 times 3 euros. And then I need to divide that. That's just going to be a shift and the question mark. Sorry, not the shift, just the sidebar, which is the shift question mark, is your division bar. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the dollar symbol. So now in here I have B6 times B3 divided by C3, and that provides me with all the values that I should need, where if it was written on a piece of paper, it would be 200 times 3 divided by 4, such that dollar will cancel out, and I'll be left with euros. If we do this math in our head, we check it in our head, 200 times 3 is 600 divided by 4 should be about 150. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Notice how when I hit enter, it automatically calculates the value. So again, in here, this is the formula, but what I get back is what I really want. It does all the calculations for me, and I don't have to worry. Also notice that in here, it does say format as appropriate currency. So I'm going to look at these cell references real quick. I'm going to go ahead and hit the format cells. Again, this is a right-click button, and I'm going to go down here to format cells. You'll notice that in the format cells, you're going to have issues seeing this, but there's going to be buttons for currency as well as accounting. Those two buttons right there. If I hit the currency button, it should automatically be in euro, because again, accounting and currency more or less coincide. So I'm looking at currency, it's automatically in euro. I hit OK. You'll also notice that this is also already in euro. Conveniently enough, because these cells are all already formatted, this automatically formats itself. You'll also notice the difference between currency and accounting. Now, it doesn't really necessarily matter, but it does say format as appropriate currency, so we should really be formatting these as a currency. I'm going to be a real big stickler about that terminology. So if I hit OK here again, notice how it just sticks the dollar symbol right up against the numerical value. I'm going to format this cell as currency as well. I'm going to hit OK. Now when I go ahead and come back to this, and if I hit enter, let me go ahead and convert this one as well, also to currency. Let me go ahead and hit enter on this one more time and see if it changes anything. It doesn't. But let me go ahead and check the formatting of this. Again, right-clicking, hitting the format. You'll notice here that it's in accounting. I'm going to change it to currency. I'm going to hit OK. And now they're all formatted the appropriate way. Again, format as appropriate currency. Let's take a look at yen now. I want to convert the dollars to yen. Again, you can do this the basic math on the outside with a piece of paper and a pen. I'm going to delete those values. I'm going to go ahead and do the math in here. I'm going to hit equals. Again, if you don't hit equals, you're just going to be typing in random things. For instance, if I type in B3, it's just going to be B3. You have to have that equal symbol before you start doing formula-based material. I want it to be this number of dollars first multiplied by the amount of yen I'm going to have, divided by the number of dollars the yen and the dollars correlate to. Again, these two values are equivalent in their different currency amounts. So if I hit enter on that, it automatically converts it, and you'll notice here that it automatically puts that yen symbol in there. Conveniently enough, the Excel document is doing the majority of the work for me. I just have to have the logical understanding of how the math works. You'll notice here that again, we have B6 times B3 divided by C3, and then down here it just shifts that one unit over is all that's really happening. So I'm going to go ahead and let you finish these 4 output cells on your own. And we're going to talk about this real quick. Given the exchange rates, again, this is part B, given the exchange rates between US dollars, British pounds, and Argentinian pesos, this is the ratio of those comparisons, where it's $1.65 is equivalent to 1 pound, and 1 pound is equivalent to 13 pesos. Please enter the appropriate ratios on the sheet, assuming you start with one United States dollar. And again, format as appropriate currency. So in here, I should probably be formatting these correctly. In this case, I'm going to go back to formatting to currency. I'm going to make sure that it's in the dollar symbol. I'm going to hit enter. For the pound, this might be a little bit difficult to do, but what you should probably do is go to currency, and here's the problem. There's a number of different references to work with. You've got English, you've got French, you've got Hawaiian. Those are all dollar symbols. You got Spanish dollar symbols. We want the pound. Now, the English pound is actually what we're looking for. It's this symbol right here. If we're not comfortable with that information, if that information is not readily available to you or you don't know it, go ahead and look it up. Again, don't just scroll through here and guess at what we're looking for. You're going to find the one that makes the most sense based on your search. Again, if you have to, use outside sources. Look it up. So I'm going to hit the English United Kingdom because I don't see any British location. And then whenever I have anything typed in here, I'm just going to type in 5 for a moment. Notice how it does 5 pounds automatically. I'm going to delete that for a second. I'm going to go ahead and hit equals. Now, in this cell reference, I need to convert $1 to pounds. Well, I don't have any cell references to reference, so I could just start typing in values. I think it might be more appropriate, however, if I start with what I have as USD as $1.65, my British pounds as 1, and then my pesos, my Argentinian pesos, as your 13. Again, notice that 1 pound is equal to 13. So now I have those 3 cell references just like I had up here. What you should probably do is go through each one of these cell references, identify the appropriate format. Since we already did the British pounds once, I'm going to go ahead and format this to Argentinian pesos. Unfortunately, the symbol is actually the same. Notice Spanish Argentina. We're going to use that dollar symbol again. So format these 3 cells, and then use your cell references just like you would do with the outputs to identify how many pounds is 1 US dollar and how many pesos is 1 US dollar. That should more or less finish up the Excel assignment that we're looking at here. Once you've completed it, make sure you submit it to Canvas, and if you have any questions with any of the content in these things, be it cell references, be it notation or formatting, by all means let me know.